Happy Sunday, everyone. Oh, it's been a while since I've shown up here. I was away with my four kids. We went back home. For those who don't know me, I'm Julie Bordelot. So I'm French speaking, and English is my second language so far. Um, because sometimes, yeah, at one point in my life it was Spanish, so now it's sweet. We are living in El Paso, Texas from now for a year or two, and yeah, um, we had the opportunity to go back home in Quebec to see my family and my in-laws as well. We saw some friends, and uh, I experienced some interesting, yeah, things, and I just wanted to share them with you, just because it it's been a while since I've been there, like for 10 days. Usually, we were doing that when we were living in Kingston, Ontario, and since the pandemic, we just stayed maybe for a couple of days instead of like a whole week and more. And it was quite interesting to spend more time with my family, especially and my parents. Um, Living away from them has helped me to get more into who I am really, what is mine instead of what is theirs. Let's say that, towards beliefs, patterns, and yeah, especially beliefs. And that's funny because while living abroad, being an expat is gives you so much opportunities. And yes, there are downsides, but the opportunity to be able to connect back to myself, to my heart, to experience what is as myself, my own truth. That's what is coming up. It helped me, especially when I with my kids. They are like mirroring some parts of me that needs to be healed or dealt with. And when we were, we my yeah, we went to a chalet, and at that point, I just experienced something so magic and profound and a little bit challenging because I saw the roots of some of my reactions and some of my kids' reactions. And the main theme going on there was control. Control. And that's funny because I'm reading The Divine Design by Laurie Ladd, and like it's typical for 3D to the third dimension to like need control and be in those dualities and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I do so much link. So control, how did it show up in our reality? Uh, it's like annoying, not annoying, but it's like just a details that just brings up the consciousness of what's going on. And so uh, we went to the chalet, we set up everything, and on one morning, my mom wanted to go sliding. But my kids and the cousins wanted to go, wanted just to like play on the pool, playing pool. Yeah, that's it. So with the sticks and all that stuff, not swimming, but yeah, and they wanted to go, sorry, in the spa, and that's all they wanted to do. And I was along without my husband. There was only my one of my sisters whose husband was there. I have three sisters. Yeah, we're four girls, and I have four boys. And so, um, like things got a little bit tense because uh, my kids felt control because they didn't want to go slide, right? And my mom was like, okay, here we go. And my father was sick and he was like, okay, you just go and that's it. And I was like, oh my God, I really know how this could end up. Like the escalation, all of the tension and the need of control, just because there are some needs that are unspoken. So, yeah, and usually it's always with my oldest that it's harder. He is, he sees everything and he's pulling up like what's going on inside of us like really easily, like he reacts the way we are embodying. So he was also embodying the energy of control, you know. And he was like, no, I'm not going, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't want to leave you in this type of energy. And he was like, why? I'm gonna explain that to you. Like, so it took me like a lot of time just to have him, okay, I'm gonna come. And also just sometimes changing the atmosphere or where we are, changing the environment helps a lot of just changing on moods, especially when you're not used to, okay, that's it, I'm done with being angry and I just want to elevate my vibration and that's it. And usually that type of situation really brings me down, like I get frustrated and I get into control as well. And that's what I explained to my son later. Like it was like when we arrived, it was like, okay, then why? I was like, you know, when people don't um, share what their needs are and where they're tired or they need like alone time or a more calmer time, sometimes they get into control. And he was like, oh, like that's the same thing with you. I'm like, yeah, that's it. And he's like, oh yeah, it's the same thing with blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, you got it. So sometimes you just have to take a step back and yeah, try to see through another lens instead of, okay, now I just want to play on the pool board. Hey Marty, come on. Sorry. That dog is like going crazy with a caution. Yeah, there's moving energies here, especially with the wind. So that is my takeaway. Like I saw where the need of control for me got rooted, and I see that is such ancestral, like I would say, wound to need control others because you're not able to speak what your truth, your needs, whatever you want to speak out. It's such a relief because it brought some feelings through the like surface on my consciousness, and I'm like, oh, there's something else going on and I have hard time to go deeper. But just the first step of that is so powerful, to just observe, okay, that's it going on, and just to let flow, accept, and try to just play with it, so the situation like will resolve by itself. And that's what it did. Like it took me like an hour to go back and forth to my son to, oh, come on, just come take some hair, and if you don't want to slide, that's fine anyway. And when I know we had some fun anyway there, even though he was saying like, ah, that's boring. But I'm like, I know you like it. So yeah, sometimes yeah, he was speaking through his bill, I guess. But yeah, like I think the main point is, to me, just noticing what is showing up in every moment we are experiencing. It's the first step through. The word that is coming up is healing, in a sense of being at peace with what what's happening or what happens or the traumas that are coming up. Just be at peace with it. so you can embody more love, self-love especially. um yeah, and take just let go of stuff and just let flow what's going on. Like there's nothing bad or wrong for me of experiencing like a bad feeling like frustration and need of control. And yeah, it's it's the neutrality that is coming up that is really weird to experience when you're not used to that. Like we're so experiencing like up and downs when it comes to emotion. So when you're neutral in something that you know it was usually tense, oh god, wow. And I'm gonna talk more about you about that, about neutrality, because I experienced a lot of stuff during those days as well. Things are moving out in our lives, and yeah. Anyway, it always like moving quickly, whatever. So I'm gonna talk about, yeah, next live I'm gonna do. It's gonna be on neutrality because that's a great yeah. I just had a mind blown consciousness that came up about that. So yeah, hope you're good, doing good. Uh, yeah, here it's the wind season, so I'm eager to see how we're gonna experience that as well. We're used to have like spring in the snow and the mud and all like damp everywhere, and here we have the wind, and there's always already flowers blooming up. So it's yeah, it's so wonderful to experience different seasons in different places. So that's it for me today. Mm. Big hug, gros bisous, as we say in French, and yeah, see you next time.